All right, today I'm here with Sabrina Bonnette, who was in the Navy, retired Navy chief. She just informed me. Tell me about what got you into going to the military.
Well, that's a very funny story. I was in retail for about 5 years. Sold jewelry, worked at Macy's for 5 years.
Wow.
And I got tired of little old ladies asking me questions. Are you sure they're all in the bag, honey? And I said, no, that's not what I want to do the rest of my life. So I went into car sales, and then the internet, came up, and you couldn't make any money in car sales anymore. I said, I want to do something meaningful. And my grandfather was in the Navy, so I went out and joined the Navy on my 23rd birthday.
Wow, that's incredible. And so, what did you do, if you don't mind me asking?
I was a personnel specialist now. It was personnelman then. And I joined in 1990,
Okay.
Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
Uh-huh.
But being personnel and scoring high on the ASVABs,
Yeah.
I was the sender and luckily never the sendee.
Yeah. So, it's interesting. I've taken a few women out to lunch in this, and since I've been doing it since September, and you guys always score extremely high on those tests. It seems. I don't. It's awesome.
It's genetics. I mean, look at your current political atmosphere. No.
It's funny because I tell my best. He's my buddy. One of my buddies is probably gonna kill me for saying this. He's single, and I said, "Don't worry about it. They outnumber us. You got plenty of choices." So that's cool. And so, how long were you in the military for?
23 and a half years
Wow.
I served.
Wow.
I went to 5 different duty stations and just had the time of my life.
That's
really.
awesome. And how many different did you ever get stationed overseas?
I had to do one tour of duty in Bahrain.
Uh-huh.
It was really rough. Had to stay at the Sheraton
Yeah.
and work out of a dumpster. And the air aviation crew got mad at me for saying it's not a dumpster, it's a Connex box.
Yeah.
So I got to pretend to be an aviation administrationman in Bahrain for 2 weeks. But the rest of the time was all Alameda, California, and New Orleans.
Oh wow.
So
New Orleans.
I'm a self-identified Calanola girl living in Ozark.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Tell me, did you have any interesting things happen that you can share while you were in for 23 years?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
All right.
Well, the most meaningful in my duty, having made chief, you're honored with the duty of helping families of fallen warriors. And that was the toughest job.
Oh, I bet.
But I was most honored to do it, and I met some fabulous military veterans. It makes me choke up even now.
Yeah, that's an amazing, and it's a big part of it, and that's really awesome that you did that, and the way you feel about it is also very, very admirable and very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's awesome because it's a big part of it. You know what I mean? And
that's why I was going to retire early because a year early because we had so many just in this area. There are so many military families that
lost someone.
That lost someone, and not always in war, and that's what we have to address today.
Yeah.
The after war is the big.
Yeah. Don't forget about them when they're done. Yeah, that's a lot
that
about
seems
what
to be
I do.
Current trend right now, and we really need to stop it and reach out to our fellow veterans.
Yeah.
And say it's worth it.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere, please. I need you.
Yeah.
So.
Now, if someone listening wanted to help with what you did, especially what we're talking about now after the fact, what could they do?
Well, I know they have Warrior Wives you can get involved with. You can join an American Legion post, and we do outreach. I belong to the Southwest Missouri Women Veterans Post, and that's we're 45 members strong now, thanks to the great leadership of it, Dawn Thomason and Shelley Jones. So they do all kinds of outreach for that, and just the people that if you served with them, touch base with them every now and then.
Check
And
up on
Facebook,
them.
we
Keep
have
those connections
there's
going.
a buddy to buddy Facebook page where you can check on people every month. And
that's cool. That's
just
a
reach
really
out to
cool
them and
thing.
say you're not alone.
And it's the little things too that we kind of tend to forget. We don't. When someone, if something happened to a family, like they had a house fire or something, everyone's like, "Oh my God, I can see that." But the little things, become big things before you know it. And I think keeping in contact is a very important thing.
Because I just lost a very, very best friend that I served on the USS Constitution with. He was in Maysville, Missouri, and it was just devastating because out of our 33 class members for the Chiefs class of 115, 2008, to see these people, he was not very old. I mean, it was just devastating.
Yeah,
So
it's life. So, anything other experiences that you had?
I got to do the auxiliary security force during 1990, and
Okay.
that was great.
Well, tell me about that.
Well, in Alameda, when we were deploying people, they pulled the newest people to do. Basically, you were a military cop for 3 months, so that was interesting. That was in the beginning. But serving in New Orleans, I became part of the cultural diversity education team.
Okay.
I was secretary first, and I would go out and find these volunteers, all on the promise of meeting Admiral McDonald, Craig McDonald. He does rag bra still, so he's around. All on the promise of meeting the Admiral. They'd come and volunteer. I had reenactors, I had singers, I had dancers, I had college professors, and the wonderful Gwendolyn Midlow Hall. She's an authoress. She's just a fabulous lady, and she was my very first speaker.
Oh, wow.
But we just started that ball rolling, and I revived the whole program. Now it's a paid collateral duty in Norfolk, and I'm proud to say they still have the annual diversity fair, which is a competition for the best representation of the culture.
Yeah, that's really cool. Very cool.
So the Navy really was the first to integrate, and the Higgins boats in New Orleans is a really good example of people pulling together, no matter your creed, no matter your religion.
What you're into,
and
what your beliefs are.
It's a really good example.
Yeah, we're all on the same team. That's very important.
Better a xenophile than a xenophobe.
Yeah. So I love New Orleans. It's probably my favorite city because I'm big into music and I'm big into food. So those two things are met down there.
And they have the International House of Blues Foundation that my sailors and I, that were part of this team, we'd volunteered to cheer on the kids that, they lend free instruments to the kids throughout the year.
Yep.
And at the end of the year, they get to play at the House of Blues.
Yeah.
And so our sailors would go down there and cheer them on because
cool.
Oftentimes their parents were working and they couldn't get up in the middle of the day.
That's a really cool venue, too. I love it. What's your favorite place to eat in New Orleans?
Salvo's.
Really?
Yeah, in Belle Chase, Louisiana.
Yeah, I know exactly where it is. I've been there. Coop's place. You ever been to Coop's?
Oh yeah,
the
and
best
Coop's place too.
Best rabbit gumbo, and everyone's like rabbit gumbo. I'm like, you don't even understand. You don't know, and it's one of those.
There's shrimp remoulade.
Yeah, oh dude, I drink that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did, like literally, and wish. Oh god, don't get me started. It's a bad time of the year.
But I love New Orleans because it's you don't know who you're going to meet what weekend, and there's always a festival.
Yeah.
I became the festival queen, which is, we went out to every different area. They had the Shrimp and Petroleum Festival. They had all kinds of good stuff.
And a great place for diversity too, because there's everything. There's every creed and belief system and everything down there. It's unbelievable. It's a really cool thing.
I just think it's very important. The only reason you fear something is because you don't know it. So get to know it. And,
you don't fear it anymore.
And so many different cultures help the Navy grow too.
Yeah.
The most highly decorated unit in the Navy was Japanese Americans in Hawaii.
Yep.
The 113th, I believe.
Yeah.
I got to see their grave when I went to the Ozark High School band. Went to Hawaii this year.
To perform.
And we got to see all that history. It was just amazing. And the USS Arizona.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible.
And the band did amazing.
Yeah.
And can I do a plug?
Yeah, sure.
They are doing a fundraiser on August 6th, the car wash.
Okay.
Saturday, August 6th or 5th.
Okay.
They're doing a car wash.
It'd be the 6th of this.
Yeah, August 6th. They're doing a car wash fundraiser so they can do great things again.
Awesome.
Because they are an award-winning band and
I used to
regional
compete
award
against them.
color guard.
Yeah.
So
I was in drumline at Kickapoo, so we competed against them all the time.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get some of your sponsors.
A million, what, Kickapoo? That's the families. That's a whole nother. It's weird because I moved here from Cape Girardeau when I was 15, and Cape is, even though it's technically parallel to Springfield, is the South. I mean, we're on the Mississippi. It's a southern. Even though we're parallel to Springfield, when I came here, it was a culture shock because not only was especially Kickapoo, it gets known as a rich kid school. You know what I mean? And my parents were not. Well, I mean, we were lower middle class. You know what I mean? Both parents worked. I worked my way through college. I didn't get my first car until I had the money at 18. So it wasn't like I saw all these kids at school going to, getting new cars when they turned 16 and stuff. And I never had a chip on my shoulder for that, but that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a whole other world. It's crazy. But I will say though that one thing that it did do for me is it helped me understand that the game is more important than the prize. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Like I think
journey.
that's one thing is that a lot of kids and millennials don't understand is that the getting it is way more important than the act of getting it than not getting awarded it. You know what I mean? Because getting the prize is like, oh, okay, it's over. Then you have to deal with the fact that the chase is done, you know, and a lot of kids need to learn that lesson, because that's all of it. Because once you get there, you got to go to the next, you know. So.
Well, and that's the thing with, you know, a lot of the kids that get out of the military. They're not sure what to do. They had their place. They knew who was in their chain of command. There was structure.
Yeah.
You get out in the civilian world, and you're kind of feel like an astronaut away from your ship. But
Yeah.
even myself, you know, I
Yeah.
love to. We have 7 chief selects out there from Navy Operational Support Center Springfield, and don't you know, they're reaching out to all the retirees, which is a great thing, because you're tying them back into that close-knit organization.
Yeah.
And I just feel it's very important.
Yeah, it is,
And
that, I know that with my stepfather, that was a big deal, because he's now working as a civilian for the military, and when he was out, it was, you know, being in the civilian world, people don't operate like military does, and that's hard for a lot of guys to get through, because there's, you know, you look and you see how hard people work in the military.
You want to know your place. You want to be rewarded for the hard work you do.
Yep.
You want to know where you can go from where, you know, if you want to go further, you want to know how to get there.
Yeah.
And there's so much mentorship in the military. It's just a good thing that we have all these great support organizations within the Ozarks.
Absolutely.
Especially the American Legions. And they invite you to come and see what they're about and get involved. Just to, you know, have that camaraderie, again, is just very special.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I actually got a lot of help from them, just bonding with them and actually finding out new occupations for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's important. That's important. And play to your strengths and what you learned and how to use it in the real world. So I think it's a great place to stop. Sabrina, thank you so much for coming to talk with me today.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service. 23 years is nothing to shy about.
Well, I was very fortunate, because I was only in CONUS. I never had to go to war, but
yeah, but it was your experience,
certainly,
and it's just as important as those guys too. You know, there's a job for everyone, and it's personal to you, and no one else will have the same experience.
That one thing I did want to tell you, after Hurricane Katrina, I spent 3 years helping these families, you know, keep afloat during the evacuation. And I spent another year making sure they kept their money the government was trying to take back. And then when it came time to, okay, well, we're going to shred all the travel claims now, Chief. And I said, okay, well, and I opened the drawers, and I knew the story of every one of those 500 staff members. I knew their individual evacuation stories. And they're like, you need to get out of here. This is never going to get done.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about, you know, my fellow gymmates and just people in general. I care.
Yeah.
And if I can be of help to anyone, you know, reach out to American Legion, Southwest Missouri Women Veterans. We're on Facebook, and we're there for you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Sabrina.
Thank you.